I'm all ready to put the countertop on. I've got glue spread all around everywhere, and the top is on the floor there ready to go on, so I better get into it before this glue starts to set up. And there we have the plywood in for the galley counter. It's all fastened down. Next step will be to put some Formica top on it. I'll get into that tomorrow. It's quitting time for today. But yeah, I've got the galley top, the top and the head for the basin, and what I call our dresser. It's this cabinet here. There's the helm seat will be there, and then behind it I figure we're going to keep our clothes in that cabinet. That top's on, and then my end table, so I sit at that end of the couch. I need a place to set my drink and my phone, so that little table there. Basically our boat's a foot longer because I decided I needed a table at the end of the couch, and I know I'll be glad I did it. Now I'm in the process of fitting the laminate. I've got that piece fit. Now it is a little shy of the end. It's a 8'6" or whatever countertop, so I still have to fit that piece in the end. And I just finished fitting the bathroom. It's ready for glue, and then the sink cutout. Working on this one here, and yeah, I cut the pieces and they're close, but there's a little gap back there in the end, so I need to trim it up. So what I'm doing, I'm using my belt sander. I mark where I think I need to go, and the belt sander does a nice, no scary, no risk of anything stupid happening. You just work away at it, and it comes off pretty quickly. So that's how I'm getting them precisely fit. Ideally, I'd like to just use a fine bead of clear silicone around the edges just to seal them in, so I am trying to get a really nice fit. Now, the biggest thing that's concerning me is when it comes to gluing this. The littler ones, I don't see them being a big deal, but this big guy, first of all, it's just big. I plan on having 3 people, because you get the contact cement down, and if you happen to let one in droop and touch, you're in trouble. But the challenge is going to be this sloped wall here. Lighting, I'm not sure if you can even tell, but anyway, it's got to get crammed right back into this V in the bottom corner, and I expect that's going to be challenging, and you get one shot at it, so I hope we have success. I've been wondering how I'm going to get this piece of laminate in place. I'll do all the contact cement on the plywood and on the underside of the laminate, and then you set it in place and you get one shot. Once you touch the two together, you're not moving it. And I've been wondering how I'm going to get it in, because it's in underneath the walk around and the sloped back wall, and I planned on 3 of us trying to hold it and get it under there. And last night a friend of mine, well, the guy I spent almost 40 years working with, doing renovations, he said, what about if you put some boards under there? Because once the contact cement skins over and is no longer wet, you can touch it and it doesn't stick to you as long as you aren't contact cement on the other surface. So what I'm going to try here is I put some 2x2s every couple of feet, and then an idea I came up with is at the very end here I have a piece of aluminum flat stock, so I can press it right down into the bottom against it and slide it in right tight where it goes, and then slip the flat stock out from underneath it. And then once I get that in position, then I can work my way back, removing 2x2s and putting it down. So we're going to see how that goes. I've got all my boards to keep the laminate up off the countertop, and I put packing tape on the bottom of them, so I'm hoping they won't get any splinters or anything in it that way. We'll let you know how this all turns out. Well, I would call that successful. It's not perfect, but it's awful close to it. It worked. The only issue I had was I had a piece of aluminum flat stock under this end here, so I could get it right down into the V of the angled wall, and I got it fitting perfectly in. When I tried to pull the flat stock out, the contact cement's just a teeny bit tacky, not bad, but a little bit, and I didn't realize it, but when I pulled it out, I guess this just shifted this way a teeny bit and this way a teeny bit, so it's just got a little teeny gap across the end there and a little teeny gap. I don't know if I can even get in there, back in the back there. I can put silicone around and it'll look wonderful. And it made it, because it was off the wall down at that end a bit, it made it a little super tight at this end, but I got it to go down and it's laying flat. There's no puckers or anything in it, and so it's all together, and it's I think it's beautiful and I'm happy, and it could have gone a whole lot worse, so I'm gonna say that was a success. Now that all the Formica's on, I was thinking my next step would be to put I'm going to put like basically a maple 1x2 across the front here, radiused edges, and a bit of a 1/4 inch high lip to keep things from falling off the counter. I was going to get into that, and then I thought, well, hold on. Running the saber saw around to cut out the sink will be a pain if you're banging into that, so I'm going to do that first. And yeah, I've succeeded in getting all the Formica down without messing it up. Now I hope I don't mess it up cutting the holes, but oh, the stress just never ends. Well, the first one is in, and no bad experiences. It's all good. And now I'm working on the kitchen sink. I've got it marked out and just drilled holes at the 4 corners, and time to saw. Does it fit? I hope so. Other than that thing holding it up where the tops are going to go. Looks awesome. I did a little looking around to find a sink for the boat. I didn't want, you don't want anything too big because you're on a tank of water, so a great big sink just uses a lot of water to fill it up enough to do the dishes. And also, because of the way I have the countertop going in 4 inches under the walk around, I couldn't have a sink that went back too far. I did think we'd probably have to put the tops around on the end, but I found this sink. It's 8 inches deep and forget now, 13 maybe, or yeah, 13 by 13 bowl, and yeah, 7.5 inches deep. I guess they exaggerate, probably 8 to the very bottom. Yeah, and it'll allow us to have a regular high top faucet, whatever you call the ones that go up nice and high, and at the back, so it's not in the way for the dish pan and the dishes. And yeah, I found this on Amazon, and when I found it, you have options. You choose, they have smaller, bigger, deeper, shallower. They've got a whole bunch of, quite a nice selection, with and without the ledge at the back. I'll leave a link for the sink from Amazon in the video description, because it was nice to find. I just drilled the hole for the faucet, and I have a little issue I'm going to resolve. So it ends up, because of all the stuff underneath it, it's all to the right hand side there, and it ends up, you can't center the faucet on the hole because of all that stuff, so it ends up off center on the sink, and I don't want off center, so I'm gonna have to saw the hole out bigger in the steel and in the countertop to get this to where I can have the faucet in the center, because I'm not going to be okay with it unless it's where it belongs. I guess this is what you'd call a mock-up of the sink. It's not siliconed. It's secured, but it's all got to be undone again because I need the silicone around here. But I just wanted to make sure everything fits the way I want it. And yeah, I took my saber saw with a metal blade and I ovaled out this hole in the... It's pretty thick stainless. It's pretty close to an 1/8 inch stainless, and so it took me a while. Quite, I don't know, 20 minutes probably to make that hole bigger. But now the top is perfectly centered, and there's excuse me, there's a little bit of a margin here where before it was pretty much flush, and that just didn't look right either. So one of those little jobs you kind of hope you don't make a little problem a big problem, and glad that in the end it looks great. So now I'll have to figure out the drain out through the side of the boat and all. So figured before I go siliconing everything, I'd figure out everything out just in case I have to remove anything or whatever. Who knows? We'll see. We have finished plumbing for the kitchen sink and the bathroom, or galley and head, if you want to be nautically correct. And yeah, so the drain, I decided to put traps on them. They do not need traps as far as, you know, sewer smells or anything, but I did it for basically 3 reasons. Insects crawling in through the drain and up into the boat, as in, or like, you know, mosquitoes, that type of thing. Noise, you know, I don't know how big a difference that makes, but whatever. And the other reason is, you know, you drop your wedding ring down the drain, and if it's just a straight elbow and a pipe overboard, it's gone forever. Maybe there's a chance you catch it in the trap, you can pull it out. So between those three things, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put traps in them. They have clean outs, so they'll be easy to winterize. And yeah, it's got a nice, I've got a cushion tank on the pump, so it hasn't come on yet. Here in a second it will. There it goes. And yeah, that's hot, cold, and it yeah, works great. Drain works great too. Now there's a little, they have this basket which would save your wedding ring in this sink, and it seems to slow the flow a bit. Without it, it just gushes away. And yeah, then in the head here we have the other basin, cold and hot, and it's all hooked up underneath here. Put a trap in again, and this one there isn't any kind of a you know, screen or anything, so yeah, you drop washing your hands in here. I don't know, I've never dropped a wedding ring, but I've heard of it happening. So anyway, it's got a trap, then it goes on through here and out overboard. And yeah, I'm happy with that. One more task completed. On to, I think I'll get into now making the maple face strips for the front of all these countertops. There's 4 countertops that I need to face the fronts, and I can't finish the stove installation until I do that because it slides in here, and so I have to get all that finished and then I can fasten the stove in, and I'd like to do that. So that's my next task. One other thing I'll mention on the water system is right here, I'm obviously at the galley sink, and so on the underside of this cupboard I've put this switch, and so that's water pump off, water pump on. And it's nice to shut the water pump off, especially if you're like leaving the boat or whatever, but it's also, I thought it's a whole lot handier to have the switch right here beside the sink and just across the hall from the head than it is to have it up in the dash or whatever. So that's the switch to turn the water pump on and off.